Let's talk about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So we watched the movie and we're going to be giving a score and then talking about our thoughts and going into spoilers, but we'll give a spoiler warning before we go into any of those. Alex, I'll go ahead and let you start and give your score on what your overall thought of the movie is.
Yeah. Okay. So I had rewatched the 3 movies before this one that's connected to it. The Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and War for the Planet of the Apes. Because I wanted to have like those movies fresh in my mind. And right off the bat, I will say this is not as good as those ones. That being said, I still thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I thought it looked amazing. The characters were interesting. Of course, that's another thing is that Noah, I think is his name, right? The main ape.
Yep.
And while he's cool, he's not Caesar. And I know it took Caesar a while to get to that epic status, but with Caesar we kind of saw him grow like from literally like a little chimp, and with Noah he's kind of already established. I know his ideals and his character motivations will probably change throughout the series, but he's still relatively established. But I still liked him. Like I still thought he was a great main character to follow. And then also there's one other the orangutan. I don't remember his name.
It's like Raka or Rafa or something, yeah.
Raka, I think. Yeah, I thought he was great. His 2 little buddies were okay. We didn't see them for like half the movie. But yeah, characters were pretty solid. I thought it looked amazing. I would still give it an 8 out of 10 because I loved it. Like I really did love it. It's just when I'm comparing it to the older trilogy, it just doesn't seem to that level. Maybe it's because there's no except for the end. I don't know, we'll have to discuss it when we're talking about spoilers. But yeah, I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I have pretty similar thoughts on this. I did enjoy this movie quite a bit. I thought it did a really good job setting up. I believe this is going to be a new trilogy. I think there's going to be a new trilogy in this time period. So I thought it did a really good job setting up this trilogy and setting up some really interesting things that could happen after this. Obviously, like you said, this one doesn't have Caesar, and that had me going into it being like, I probably won't like this as much because Caesar's awesome, and how do you replace him? But I think they did a decent job with Noah and with some of the positions it puts Noah in, and like figuring out what he believes. I thought it was really compelling. And I also feel like this wasn't as action heavy as some of the other ones, but that might also be because it's the first one in a new trilogy. So like the first one in the other trilogy kind of was a little slower and less actiony too. So that kind of is where my head's at with it.
I guess for me the difference between Rise and this is because they are similar movies in the sense of like it's more kind of drama in a sense. Is Rise was set with like you knew that the doom of humanity was coming, so like you had that looming in the background.
True.
And like with this one, apes are already in control. So, but yeah, that's just thoughts I had too, because I compared it to Rise quite a bit too when I was thinking about it.
Yeah, but I feel like this one came in with the challenge of having to figure out how to replace Caesar, and I think it did a good enough job to keep me interested in the trilogy. And overall, I thought the movie had really interesting themes. I love pretty much all these movies give you a good reason for like both sides, because it could be easy to pick one side, like, oh, I want the humans, oh, I want the apes, but it does a good job of showing both sides, and I felt like this one kept up with that kind of theme. So I gave this one an 8 out of 10 as well, because I thought it was a very good movie.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, there's some stuff. Yeah, we'll have to get to spoilers because it overall, it was a great movie. Like even though it was slower and less action heavy, if you're into, like you said, the themes, and if you could kind of get into the mindset of mainly watching, CGI apes, it's great. And it looks good too.
Yeah, it does.
It's insane how good it looks.
Yep.
They look real. Like, geez, I was scared they actually took over the planet.
Yeah, with that being said, let's get into spoilers. So, spoiler alert for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. We recommend you see it if you haven't.
Yes, for sure. First thing, it was kind of cool watching this. This isn't a spoiler, but because the director, Wes Ball, is the one directing Zelda, the new Zelda movie. I don't know if you knew that.
I heard of that, yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool. Like, I almost felt like this was his audition for me. Like, oh, can he handle a Zelda movie? But when you think about it, the girl, May, she hardly talked, and, like, she could convey emotions. Like, I wonder if he would do that with Link.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, but anyways, that was just I don't know. I thought that was, I don't know, when I was watching this movie, I was getting excited, like, oh, okay, maybe you could handle a Zelda movie. But the first thing I wanted to say was, I thought the voice acting was really good. Like Raka, for example, I loved him. Like, and I still think he's alive.
Yeah, I agree. I think Raka's alive, and he was my favorite character, for sure.
Yeah, he was great. And I hope he's alive because it could be such an interesting dynamic with Noah. Because Noah, as you can see throughout the movie, which we'll get to it, he goes from not liking the humans to caring about her to, you know, going to that big human bunker and seeing books of apes and stuff in cages. So he went from like not really knowing or understanding humans to kind of liking her to then like kind of like maybe I shouldn't trust them. And I think that would be interesting with Raka around to see, like, I don't know, you know, like just an interesting dynamic. So I hope he's alive.
Yeah, I do too. And yeah, I thought Noah's journey in this was good. It started off kind of slow with just him at his like camp, or, you know, his village or whatever, but I felt it really picked up after the village got taken and he met Raka. Like, Raka is where it really started to feel like he was getting some interesting, like, moral quandaries thrown at him, like humans aren't exactly what he thought, and Caesar's teachings kind of setting that groundwork for being a better ape.
Which, I mean, it's a lot of parallels to, like, you know, real life. That's the one thing I did love. Even though Caesar isn't in this movie, well, technically he's in it for like 2 seconds at the beginning. Like, I love how, like, he is his legacy. He's almost like a religion.
He's almost like two religions, because, like, Proximus and his group kind of follow this distorted version of Caesar, and then you have Raka promoting, in my opinion, what's more of like Caesar's actual thoughts on things.
Oh, for sure. Because Caesar didn't want a war to kill humans. He just did it to protect his apes, you know, to his people. That's the only reason. If humans weren't attacking the apes, Caesar wouldn't be attacking them. Also, Proximus, I loved him too. He kind of, I don't know, the way he talked and stuff, he thought he was all cool and funny. And
I feel like he was pretty charismatic, and it makes sense why he would become the leader. But his character reminded me of Fallout New Vegas. Maybe it's just because I'm in a Fallout mood after finishing the show, but like in New Vegas, there's Caesar's Legion, and it's a guy named Caesar who is just like a Roman LARPer. He's pretending to like rebuild the Roman society. Proximus kind of felt like that too, where he's having, you know, Roman things read to him. He's in the red outfit, kind of like Rome, and is taking Caesar's teachings and, you know, twisting them to his purpose. But it just reminded me of Fallout New Vegas.
I will say, I almost wish he survived, because I don't know, I was reading some stuff like people wish he survived, and it kind of would be cool. Like, some people are saying it would have been cool if he survived, and, like, you know, it would be Noah and his people, and then him and his people. He'd be like the overarching villain, but then I don't know, maybe they have to fight the humans and they actually have to team up eventually. I don't know, it would have been cool if he kind of stayed alive through the few movies.
That's true. I will say his death was really cool. I really liked that scene with
I liked it. I did.
The eagles coming in and stuff. That was really cool. But that would have been interesting. Although I think they might be doing something even more interesting with kind of pitting Caesar and May against each other in the end. It kind of seems like it might go that way, where, because even at the end when May's like saying goodbye, she has a pistol behind her back, which was a pretty cool reveal of how she still doesn't trust him, and, you know, Noah still doesn't know exactly how to feel about humans imprisoning them. I kind of feel like those two might end up being...
They definitely...
Yeah.
I agree.
At odds.
Still kind of like the at odds. I guess for me, it just would have been cool to see a different, like, seeing... It'd almost be like Rick and Shane, right? It's almost like Noah kind of slowly become, you know, kind of like Rick kind of slowly became Shane. But I agree with you. And even when he had that, I thought that scene was good, because Noah asked May, like, you know, can we live together in peace? And then it like shows the gun behind, like, she's like, I don't know, like, it was really good. Like, Noah's like right, kind of, in a sense. But then she's, I don't know. You're right. This is the best. This is what makes Planet of the Apes is the ideals and the politicalness and the
gray areas.
Yeah, because, like, do you root for the humans? Like, we should be, right? Like, we're human,
right? But like, you follow the apes so much, and you're like sympathetic to their cause, and it's like, well, who is right?
But then, like, May is right. Like, this is our planet, but we also, like, we're stupid enough to create a virus to destroy it, and it's so funny too, because, like I said, I rewatched the old movies, and I know this is off topic, but But like the funny thing is the James Franco in that movie, who was helping, with that virus. I don't know if you remember, it was to help stop Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And he's like, we gotta stop. It was just corporate greed, dude. And that's so realistic, though.
Yep, that's true.
They're like, no, this is gonna make us freaking money. We're going on with it. And he's like, no, there's side effects. I'm telling you. So, anyways, it's just so like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I know May said that like it was our planet first. So I'm like, well, we were kind of idiots. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good question. That is the question, I feel like.
In the ending, I guess we're gonna hurt ourselves. So the beginning, it showed Caesar and all the apes from the first movie.
And Maurice. Why are the orangutans? The orangutans are always my favorite.
I know, Maurice is my favorite too. Yeah, Maurice was great. They showed them for it was like a minute or two, kind of just showing Caesar as he passed. Like, and you finished all three of the other movies, right?
I did. It's been a while. I didn't get to rewatch them, but I did watch a recap.
But you've seen them all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people hate on War of the Planet of the Apes or For the Planet of the Apes, but it was good. That was the one. I don't know if you remember, or you saw the recap where they followed mostly the apes.
Yeah.
And it was good. I think the problem is these movies' titles are like backwards. I saw a thing on Reddit on it, and I totally agree with it. Where like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes should have been the first one, War for the Planet of the Apes should have been the second one, and then Rise of the Planet of the Apes should have been the third one.
Yeah, I feel like there's also an argument just to switch the first two. Like Dawn and Rise could have been switched. Like it just like all is. The naming convention is not my favorite. That's for sure.
No. So like these three. So they're planning on another trilogy, right? This trilogy. And I was reading the writers of the original, and I think some of them are back for this one, said they originally planned for 9 movies.
Oh, dang.
So like, kind of like Skywalker saga, so like 3 trilogies. So what I wonder is if this is, so right now, I was reading, they're calling this ape era like the Bronze era. Like the humans are mostly wiped out, but it's not like, the original movie where they're like, it's their world. So I wonder if this will kind of lead into like the original trilogy.
Yeah, I was wondering when they're going to do that, because I definitely feel like they're setting some things up to lead into the original, or like a remake of the original, kind of. So I was wondering if they're going to do that in this trilogy or do that after. I don't know which one I would like. Probably after. Let them do their own thing some more. But I feel like they're definitely leaving things in. Like in the first 3, there was talk of like a mission to Mars, and the people underground in this one, they're definitely setting up for something like that.
Yeah, they're like looking out in space.
When they were looking at that telescope, I kind of thought they were going to see him coming back like from the original or something.
Noah and his clan, they basically have to find the evil egg?
Yeah, they're like having a ceremony to bond to their eggs and have their own birds, so they climb up to, and I thought it was really cool seeing they're basically climbing up buildings that have been in decay for 300 years, and the building out of those buildings and making them all overgrown and stuff looked really good. Some of those shots were really cool, and so they get to the top and get their eggs,
and this whole time the girl's kind of following him around. Right?
Yeah, and she goes into the village, and Noah finds her, kind of, and she runs into him and breaks his egg, and so he feels like he has to go get another one in the middle of the night right before the ceremony, so that's why he like runs off in the middle of the night, but then gets interrupted by some invader apes. I think they just kill off some scouts or something, but then start heading back to the village, and then I thought that fight scene at the village was pretty good. Like it was less a fight scene and more of just like destruction. They pretty much like destroy their whole village and take them into slavery, but like seeing it all on fire and him climbing up the tower, craziness going on.
Yeah, that fight with the gorilla, he's kind of like the main gorilla, the kind of commander to the king, kind of. That fight was good.
Yeah.
He was trying to protect his dad up there, Noah was, and it was pretty brutal. And towards the end, they have like these apes and gorilla have the shockers,
the ones that Draco used in the first one.
Yeah, that's right. And uses that on Noah, and he pretty much falls all the way down, gets knocked out, wakes up, sees his dad dead, and says he needs to go out and get his people back for his dad. That's pretty much the whole plot.
And that's like the first third of the movie. And yeah, talking about his friends, like, so his 2 main friends are Anaya and Suna. I thought they were okay. Like you said, we didn't really see them that much, especially after this. We don't see him for a whole like third of the movie. But like Anaya had some funny lines. Suna was an okay love interest. She'll probably be more important in the next ones if they keep following Noah. But yeah, they were fine.
They were, compared to, I guess, the apes, it's only been 1 movie, but I guess Maurice was more so was obviously like Rocca. So in the sense, Rocca was pretty solid like Maurice. But like in the original trilogy you had like, what's his name? Rocket. There was a couple other, I can't remember the name. But they were all, in the in the zoo with him. So like, I don't know, it felt, the biggest thing is I feel like we grew with Caesar and all of his buddies, and these three were like already a system, you know, a friendship.
Yeah, that's true.
And also we didn't see them a third of the movie, like you said, or half the movie almost. I will say, I don't think Proximus was as awesome as Koba. Do you remember Koba from second movie?
Koba was really good. Yeah.
He was very good, and they were like, him and Caesar were kind of buddies at the beginning, and I don't know, he was such a good villain. He haunted Caesar even into the third movie. Like, that was a great villain.
Yeah, I feel like there are different kinds of villains. Like, Koba's more of the like immediate warmonger kind of like wipeout, but Caesar's more of like the charismatic leader who's almost in the long run more dangerous, but Koba's definitely more intimidating, I feel like.
Yeah, because Proximus, which I guess we'll get there. So after the village gets attacked and he sets off to find his people, that's kind of, that's where he meets Rocca, right?
Yep.
In between there. And then, again, hilarious. He was an awesome, I think you're right. I think he's my favorite too.
Yeah, Rocca's great. So he meets Rocca and learns about, so Rocca's like one of the last people who kind of knows who Caesar actually was and what he stood for. And he's like, he has this religion basically of worshiping or like spreading Caesar's teachings.
He even has that symbol.
He has his symbol, yeah, which he then gives to Noah.
I love that detail. Like the windowsill. I love how that goes throughout even to now.
Yeah, that's really cool. And one of the funniest lines of the movie, I think, was when they were walking through the airport and us as an audience knows it's an abandoned airport, but Rocca's like, who knows what this area was? Apes could have used this to keep humans and feed them and take care of them. And it's like, oh, there's planes in the background. It's an airport.
The apes are like not at the level of smartness, you know, that humans are, but they're like in between. They're not dumb.
Yeah, I feel like they have the capacity for the intelligence, but it's just like, it's like they're starting from scratch. They don't have, we had like however many years to like learn all this stuff. Yeah. They just sprung up with this intelligence and now are starting from ground zero. So that makes sense.
Which even Proximus says, like when he's explaining to Noah later on in the movie, like they had.
Yeah.
Evolution. We had bombs. I think they didn't say bombs, but they had stuff like, I don't remember who said that could destroy everything. They could go in the air. I don't remember who said it.
Yeah, it was Caesar. Yeah, or not Caesar, Proximus. Yeah. The new Caesar, the wannabe Caesar.
What technically is Proximus Caesar.
Yeah, But yeah, he talked about how they could talk across oceans. They could fly like the eagles. Yeah.
And then when he meets Rocca, they see the human again. Which what does Noah just call a human again? It's
Echo.
Nova, right? Or Echo.
He calls it an Echo, and then Rocca tells him that it's a human, and then Rocca says that Caesar calls them Novas because I think that's the name of the girl in the third one.
Yep.
So they name her Nova before they know that she can talk.
Rocca's like, all right, I need to, this is Caesar's trying to talk to me, I need to go with you.
Yep.
He's like, you'll slow me down. He's like, no, I got a horse too.
And then when they go, he immediately asks him to slow down. I don't know if you got that, but like right after he's like, can't we go a little slower? That's funny.
Eventually they make camp, the humans there, or May's there, Nova, whatever you want to call her. You know, they kind of talk like humans are dumb. Rocca's like, she's smarter than most, and she throws him food, and all this, Noah's like, it's a human, like, leave him be, like, that, you know, doesn't care for them.
Yeah, he just thinks they're stupid.
Yeah, I don't think he understands. He just thinks they're stupid. I don't even think he hates them. I think he just thinks they're stupid and useless.
Mm-hmm.
What happens after that? I don't remember.
So they camp with May, and Caesar gives her the blanket. But then after that, they find the zebras, and then they find like a group of humans.
Horses with stripes.
Yeah, horses with stripes. All the humans they found are in like loincloths and really basic looking, like caveman clothing, basically. But May was in like normal clothes, like our kind of clothes.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, and I was like, what? How did she get that?
At first, obviously it's explained at the end, but at first I thought it was like, okay, she's the main character. She's, you know, they have to, I don't know, I just thought they were going to make her more, I don't know, human-y because she's the main human. But I did notice that too. I'm like, how does she have like jeans and like a t-shirt? And my question to you, because this was never explained. Well, I guess before, like you were saying, they found all the humans drinking out of the water. And then that same gorilla that attacked this village came, arrived and was hunting down all of them. My question is, what did they do with the humans? Because they captured them, but you never see any humans besides the one guy.
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't really explain that. I know in the the original, they like use them kind of as slaves, don't they? So maybe that could be what's going on, but they don't really show that. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, they're like capturing all these humans, or are they just killing? I didn't think
they might be, because I think they're looking just for her, for May, so they might have been just capturing them to check to see if that's who it was, and then
smart or something.
Yeah, and then they either kill them or let them go or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, because they never explained that. But I thought that was a good scene.
Yeah, and then so May is running away from that gorilla guy. So she's running away, and then Noah sees her, and this is the moment where Noah realizes that May can talk because she yells out Noah's name to come help her. And I thought that was an interesting kind of callback. I don't know if they did it on purpose, but the first word we hear Caesar say is no, and the first word we hear May say is Noah. So I don't know if they did that kind of to mirror it.
Yeah.
It was an impactful moment. I kind of wish they didn't show that moment as much in the trailers, but you know, that's just trailer things that are going to spoil some parts of the movie. So.
Yeah, because they definitely showed that moment in the trailer, or around that moment at least.
Right.
Because I mean, if it was meant to be impactful, it was still nowhere near the level of Caesar saying no. I remember I don't know if I saw it with you or who I saw it with, but like the whole theater's gasped. It was like, oh man, that was such a cool moment.
That was definitely a way better moment for sure. I still think the scene was good, but you can't beat Caesar speaking his first words. Yeah,
that was wild. That was so good. Yeah, it was a good scene, though. And, of course, Noah saves her. They ride off.
They go across the bridge next, and that's where they get captured.
That's right.
And on the bridge, Raka falls off and then is holding onto the thing, and then
allegedly dies.
One of the apes cuts it, and he quote-unquote dies. We don't see him for the rest of the movie, but I'm pretty sure he's still alive. In fact, I read something that at the end, you can hear orangutan noises, and it's probably Raka.
I did hear that. Well, I didn't stay in here. That. I read that afterwards, too.
Yep.
And then they get captured. They get taken to the kingdom, quote unquote, and which is pretty much just a prison surrounding a human bunker that the government sat in after the virus went out. And the whole point of Maximus enslaving all these apes is to open that door, pretty much, because he believes what's behind that door will help the evolution of apes.
And it probably would, because we've seen that apes do know how to handle guns when they get them, and there's probably a lot of guns in there. There's like a lot of technology that they could use. Who knows if they'll be able to learn, how much they'll be able to learn, or how fast, but there's definitely things that would, ramp up their ability to cause damage, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I like the introductory scene with Proximus, the charisma and the speech and the Caesar stronger together, pretty much the girl May, she gets taken, and there's another human there. I don't even remember his name, to be honest. He wasn't that big of a character.
Yeah, he wasn't in it for that long.
But he's pretty much teaching the apes and helping with the electric spear, right, and all that stuff.
Trevathan was his name.
I just know him from Shameless. He was at the show Shameless.
Gotcha.
But he wasn't honestly, they could have done more with that character, to be honest.
They could have. He was not that important. He was basically helping Caesar learn by reading to him, and he was saying to May that she should do the same because it'll make their life easy, and they have a good life there and stuff.
You have a chance here. Yeah. And May's pretty much no, screw you. I'm the one. What'd you say? I'm the one not helping the apes or something like that. Mm-hmm. He's like, what's your name? I'm the one not helping the apes. And then Noah finds his people. His two friends and his mom, and the speech we kind of already talked about. Proximus likes Noah because Noah knows more than most apes.
He fixed that shock stick thing, so he knows he's pretty smart. Proximus is trying to get May to help him open the bunker because they try and it doesn't work. And she says something like, there's no way you'll ever be able to break into that bunker. And so Proximus thinks she knows another way in, which we find out later she does. Caesar helps her get in because they have to climb up a ways. So,
Noah.
I keep doing that. Noah. He looks a lot like Caesar.
He does. But probably purposely, too. Unless down the road we'll find out he's lineage. I thought about that.
I was kind of expecting that, honestly, yeah.
It still might be, maybe later down the road he finds out somehow, or I don't know. Mm-hmm. Maybe they capture him and it draws blood and they're oh, he has the same DNA as Caesar did. I don't know. There's some way they could do that.
Yeah, that's
because he does
possible.
look like Caesar. And I thought that part, the climbing was good and all, but once they get into that facility, I thought that was a pretty neat little section of the movie. It was just kind of cool seeing the apes, like when the lights turn on.
Yeah, get all excited and like, what's going on? Yeah.
And it's just seeing like human, like just us seeing lights turn on for the first time in the movie, and like human infrastructure, and even the thing May did with the lighting the sticks for the fire, like and containing the fire. They're like, oh,
yeah,
with the sparks, or I don't know, she'd use like gunpowder or something. I don't know what she used, but
probably.
And then they were looking around, and then she splits off because she obviously has her own mission, which we find out later what exactly that is. But she takes the computer, pretty much all the data from the computer.
Yeah, some kind of data thing for satellites or something, yeah.
And while she's doing that, the apes, Noah and his two friends, they kind of stumble upon a little school classroom and find a book, and it kind of shows, it's a zoo book, it's a kid book, like an ABC book, and it shows apes and animals like behind cages, and you could see they're starting to like question, should we be with this lady or trust this girl?
It's such a simple thing, like a little kid's book, but it makes total sense how they would see that and be like, oh, this is how it used to be, huh? Well, maybe humans aren't the best. And I think that's a neat way for them to throw in some doubt into Noah's mind.
You're right. Something as simple as like a little ABC kid book. It's crazy. And I get it too. And I think that was the moment where like Noah was kind of like doubting, because throughout the movie he started kind of agreeing with Raka, right? Like, okay, like the human, she, which I guess we missed that part, is she looked through the telescope and she saw, like they found a telescope and he looked through it and was amazed, like, what is this? And then he saw May eventually looked in it, and she looked, like I looked.
Yeah, she had that same reaction.
And so I think he started to believe in like the right Caesar way, but I think after that book, I think that was like the turning point where he started to doubt it again. Then they get out there and then they leave, they open the door.
They have a plan to, after they get the thing that she needs, to then use gunpowder to blow up the dam and flood inside there so that Proximus can't use any of that technology to, evolve. So they open the door, but then you first see Noah's mother, and then Proximus steps out and basically catches them, knows what they were doing, and is gonna take the vault or whatever it is.
Yeah, that was funny because like when May... So they're obviously holding the mom hostage, and Proximus is like, you got to pick between human or your own mother or kind, pretty much. And before he could make any sort of decision, May shoots the ape holding Noah's mom. I thought Max's reaction was so funny. He was almost excited. He's like, "Whoa, what is that? Is there more in here?"
Yeah, he was excited. He's like, "Oh, that's the kind of stuff in there." Yep.
Yeah, he's like, "Ooh, more of that in there." And then, of course, now Noah like doesn't want May to explode it because they're all like in there and they don't have a chance to escape. And May's like, I'm sorry, I cannot let apes have what's in here. Like, they can't access this technology and these weapons and everything, because that's not good for mankind. That's where like you get like they're buddy, right? Like humans and apes, but when it push comes to shove, she has to do what's right for her people. But like, so does she really? That's what I love about the movie. Like she at the end of like, is that what we would do too? Like, would we do that too? Like, would I be like, screw you guys, even though we came buddy?
Yeah, it's a tough choice. I love that moral question that you kind of have to answer yourself. That's what's great about these movies for sure.
Yeah, and I loved it. And she exploded it. And then it was funny, all the apes are panicking. She was just walking up the dam, seeing the chaos from above. And then that whole flood scene was really cool. They all try to escape, and then, Noah fights the big gorilla. I thought that was a good fight.
I do have one nitpick with that scene where it seems like the water flows in and then floods higher than sea level, which wouldn't really happen, but that's just a small nitpick because it goes up pretty high.
I agree, because I thought they were just trying to get high enough to like, above sea level, and I thought it was like, I didn't think they had to escape all the way to the cliff. I thought they're just going to higher floors.
Yeah, which, I mean, the way out, they do know that, but you can see it rising higher than that first floor, and it's like, well, that wouldn't really happen, but okay.
Yeah. I will say, though, with the fight with the gorilla, they did drop all the way down, so it makes sense he got flooded and drowned, which I thought that was an interesting fight, because, I mean, Noah kind of was like, I ain't gonna take this guy on one-on-one.
Right, he outsmarted him, which, that's what he does. He's smarter than most apes, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and like you said, that scene where, they all make it to the top, where they climbed in earlier in the film, so they knew where to exit. The fight with Proximus, that was an interesting. You're right. I loved how, again, Noah kind of knew he wasn't gonna freaking win. He used his eagles and his tribe. He did that little his little tribe song or whatever you want to call it, and which they hinted at earlier in the movie that Rocco wanted to hear it, but he's like, I don't sing. So like I feel like that was the moment where he's like, okay, I'm taking over.
Yeah, and the eagle, like, finally, because he was always kind of antagonistic to Noah, but I think he saw that Noah had grown and changed and was like, okay, I accept you as Eagle Clan leader or whatever.
Yeah, so that was a really cool moment. I feel like that was like a Caesar moment. Like this is like I'm the leader now.
And man, I would not want to be attacked by that many eagles. That looked brutal.
No, Jesus Christ, man, falling off the cliff. Shit, that might have been Mercy just falling off the cliff and dying.
Seriously.
And then that's pretty much. And then they make it back to their home, and they're Noah said we're gonna rebuild, but rebuild stronger and smarter. Pretty much, he has the knowledge now, and that's the conversation we talked about earlier, where he has with May. Then she goes back to her bunker, and the lady walks out like in a hazmat suit. Which that's another question I have. So have these people never been outside since the virus? Because you would think the only people that are left are people that can survive the virus. Like no one's wearing hazmat suits.
Yeah, to me, the people inside are like sealed off from the virus, and they probably, if they're not immune to it, they're probably in there their whole life, unless they go outside with a hazmat
about May,
suit.
Though?
She must be immune to it.
Did they test on her? Like, okay, you go out and see what happens, or did they find her?
They probably have been testing blood to find people with like some kind of antibodies to it, because like even in the first one, the grandpa started, having antibodies to the thing, and it stopped curing his Alzheimer's. So they probably have some of that information. But that's probably why they couldn't do it before, is they had to wait until they had someone who could go outside and not have to worry about being infected. But it's not really said in the movie. In the future movie, it could be. Yeah, I had a lot of questions about May, and I feel like some of them got answered, but man, I want to know a lot more about the humans underground and what's going on with them and what they're doing.
It's almost like Fallout, man.
I know. They were in a vault. Yep.
Well, that was pretty cool. So my other question too. So then it was kind of going back and forth. So May giving the data computer thing to the other people, which a whole functioning room full of people, like it's an actual little society in there. And then it shows them connecting it, and they're trying to communicate someone, and then it shows Noah showing his people or his friends the telescope that he found. And my impression I got from it, and I could be totally wrong because I read every review I read said it was them communicating with other bases. But my impression was, I thought they would be trying to communicate with someone in space, like the Mars mission they sent. Well, not that, but I don't know.
I think when they were talking to him, the other people said, oh yeah, we're in Indiana, where are you guys at? So I think that's why.
Oh, did it? Oh, I did not hear that then. I didn't catch that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I think that could eventually be where they pick up, like, the guy from Mars. They might pick up his transmission or something. So that could definitely be set up for that.
Because there has to be some sort of time travel, right? Well, at least there's time travel. Well, in the Tim Burton one, there's an aspect of time travel. I don't know. They emphasize a space mission to Mars, but if it's been 300 years plus, how are they going to incorporate that? Unless it's just an Easter egg.
In the original, I feel like there was an aspect of time travel, and they could go like the interstellar route where like he gets too close to some gravitational anomaly and it messes with time or something. Because I feel like that's kind of what they did in the original, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that was the whole ending, right? He's like, wait, this is Earth.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. Like this was a good movie in general, but it made me like, it's a setup movie too, in no sense. Mm-hmm. Meeting a whole new set of characters in this kind of time period of the Apes, and it's different. And I'll say I don't think it's as good as originals, just because, well, the other three, I guess, not the originals. Right. The originals to this world, I know I mentioned it before, but I think it was the loomingness of, we're seeing like an origin of humanity getting wiped out, and I think that overall anticipation, that looming doom sense, like we know the apes are going to take over. I felt like that had such a huge impact for me, and you don't get that as much here. You get some mystery here, but not like a sense of like doom, because it's already like the apes are already kind of in control.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't watched those other ones in a long time, but from what I remember, I think I like those a little more. But yeah, this was still a really good movie.
And those are filmed amazingly too. Like, I know you haven't watched in a while, but there's a scene in Dawn of the Planet, or not Dawn, the middle movie, which should have been War of the Planet of the Apes, where there's like the war was happening, and like there's a shot with the tank, and the tank's like like spinning around, and you can see all the battle happening around. Do you remember that part? That scene?
I don't.
You should watch it if you haven't.
Yeah, I need to rewatch them.
Every scene in those original 3 movies, especially the second 2, Dawn and War for the Planet of the Apes, were like you could take a screenshot of it and it could be your screen. Like they looked amazing.
Yeah.
Caesar was freaking epic. The villains were amazing. The looming sense of doom, the origin story. You can't beat that. So it's kind of unfair for this movie, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it held its own. It's hard to match that, but it definitely set up what could be another very interesting trilogy, which I feel like that was the purpose of this movie, is to make a good movie and then set up for the future.
Mm-hmm. I'll say this. I came out happier than I thought it would came out. I thought I wasn't going to enjoy it as much because I thought, man, they're just going to try to rake in the money. They're going to try to, you know, how is it going to, like you said, live up to the whole Caesar arc and everything? So I actually came out happier than I thought I would.
I agree. I did too.
So I really did enjoy it, and it made a lot of money this past weekend, so I know it will get a sequel.
As long as they're good, I say keep making them. Yeah, go see it. I guess if you will listen to this, then You've probably seen it, but go see it again.
yeah, exactly. You made it this far, they've seen it. Or they're just weirdos. You just like to know spoilers before.
Hey, yeah, to each their own.
Good for you if you like that, but you're doing it wrong.